In my previous life, I treated my in-laws as my own parents and my sister-in-law as my blood sibling, giving everything without reservation. Yet they conspired to abort my fully formed baby. Then pushed me down the stairs when I threatened to call the police, watching coldly as I bled to death. When I opened my eyes again, I had been reborn back to the early days of my marriage. Before pregnancy changed everything. Darling, now that you've married Aaron, I'm your real mother. My mother-in-law cooed, clutching my hands during our heart-to-heart talk. Poor orphan girl with no family support. You come to me if Aaron ever mistreats you, I'll beat some sense into that boy myself. I blinked, disoriented. Weren't we supposed to be dead? Mistaking my silence for emotion. She pressed her advantage. Since you're legally married now, why not let me manage your finances? Young people shouldn't handle such large sums. Don't worry, everything will naturally go to Aaron eventually anyway. The memories flooded back. Last time, she'd sweet-talked me into surrendering both the dowry and my savings within weeks of our wedding. Only later did I notice Emily's chunky gold bracelets, latest iPhones, and designer wardrobe all funded from our accounts. When I confronted Aaron, he'd berated me for being petty towards his baby sister. Jane? Earth to Jane? Her impatient fingers tightened around mine. Smiling, I disentangled myself. Actually, I've already invested everything in a high-yield wealth management product. 4% annual return. But locked for 3 years. We'll transfer the funds to you after maturity. How's that? Her smile froze. So, soon? I produced doctored bank statements from my phone. The illiterate woman squinted at the official-looking stamps before relenting. Smart girl. Just looking out for you kids. Get some rest now. The moment her bedroom door closed, I bolted. My sneakers pounded pavement until I reached the drugstore. 3 pregnancy tests later, I collapsed on a mall bench watching shoppers pass by. Negative. All negative. Last timeline. We'd conceived immediately. At the 5-month ultrasound. She'd badgered the doctor about gender despite legal prohibitions. When the physician dumped leftover tea saying yellow clothes suit all babies, she interpreted it as pouring out daughter like discarded water. Her solution? Switching my prenatal vitamins for abortion pills. At 7 months, I delivered a stillborn son in bathroom agony. During my DNC recovery, I overheard their plot. They pushed me down the stairs when I threatened legal action. I still remember begging through broken ribs as 4 silhouettes watched me bleed out on the foyer tiles. Now, calculating coldly, divorce would be difficult. Aaron knew he'd never land another catch like me, orphaned heiress with multiple properties. Under current laws, he could drag proceedings indefinitely unless. My fingers traced my flat stomach. This time, there'd be no pregnancy. No vulnerability. Just cold, clear-eyed preparation. Let them scheme about money they'll never touch. I'll be collecting evidence, securing assets, and when the time comes, they'll learn what happens when spilled blood flows both ways. Moreover, I wasn't willing to let the foster family off so easily. When I returned home, my sister-in-law Emily was lounging on the couch scrolling through her phone. At 19, Emily was 8 years younger than my husband Aaron and had been coddled her entire life. After failing college entrance exams, her family paid for her to attend a local vocational school. She'd recently switched to commuting from home, claiming the dorm conditions were unbearable. Where have you been? You didn't make dinner. I'm starving. Emily shot me a glare before resuming her blissful texting. I'm on my period and not in the mood to cook today. She exploded. Jane, you've barely been part of this family 5 minutes. Don't think Aaron won't put you in your place. Go ahead and tattle. I'd love to see how he puts me in my place. I slammed the bedroom door so hard the walls shook. Soon after, I heard my in-law's door creak open. The smell of home-cooked meals eventually wafted through the air. Timing it perfectly, I emerged to scoop a generous portion of stir-fried pork and rice into a bowl under their stunned silence. I ate leisurely in my room while streaming a variety show. Afterward, I dumped my dishes in the sink and headed straight back out. At work. I adjusted my honeymoon leave to start tomorrow. My supervisor had originally pleaded, during our busiest quarter, for me to postpone vacation. Yet I'd stubbornly insisted. Only to waste those precious days playing unpaid tour guide for the Fosters in Hainan. The memory of their carefree laughter while I hauled luggage and booked excursions still burned. I killed hours at a cafe before returning home. Predictably, Aaron was consoling his weeping mother on the sofa. "Don't upset yourself, Mom. I'll talk sense into Jane when she..." "Talk sense into me about what?" I kicked off my shoes, relishing his flustered pause. "Why didn't you cook lunch or wash dishes? You didn't even prepare dinner." I laughed. "Your parents and grown-ass sister sat around all day doing nothing. Did your family not eat before I arrived?" Aaron lunged up, fist clenched. "Go ahead. But remember, 4 years of collegiate self-defense training means whatever happens next is justified." At 5 feet 9 inches and 130 pounds, Aaron's noodle arms posed little threat. He deflated, knowing I'd pinned him during drunken frat parties. "Starting tomorrow. I'm back at work. Lunch at the office. No dinner, I'm dieting. Figure out your own breakfast." Another satisfying door slam. Aaron used to weaponize that sound, each crash making my stomach drop. Now, the power reversal was intoxicating. In my past life, I'd laundered his parents' underwear, cooked holiday feasts for 20, and received zero gratitude. Never again. "What's this about her returning to work?" Mrs. Foster hissed. "Our Hainan trip." She'd bragged to her mahjong group about the family honeymoon, a spectacle meant to outshine her friends' ordinary Caribbean cruises. Aaron followed me, deploying the puppy dog eyes that once melted me. "Mom's worried she offended you. Let's stick to the plan. Okay? I'll make it up to you later with a real romantic getaway." A family honeymoon? That's not a thing. Go without me. He alternated between threats and bribes for days. When I remained unmoved, the Fosters badgered him into draining his savings for 3 economy tickets to Hainan. I spent that week redecorating my apartment and blocking 18 guilt-tripping voicemails. Since I refused to contribute a single penny, we could only afford red-eye flights and budget accommodations using Aaron's savings. Yet the Fosters acted like they'd won the lottery. "Hey Jane. What do you think of my new bikini?" Emily strutted into my room wearing a skimpy 2-piece. I glanced up, ready to ignore her until noticing the angry red mark above her left breast. "Mosquitoes must be vicious this summer. They're biting through bras now." Emily froze, following my gaze before flushing crimson and storming out. Interesting. Her fling with that college boy was progressing faster than last time. I needed to accelerate my plans. Despite our late flight, Aaron's mother herded everyone to the airport hours early. I used the quiet time perfectly. As their boarding time approached, I spammed the family group chat with 4 videos. Horrific plane crash footage. 0% survival rate in air disasters. Experts warn, trains safer than planes. 5 reasons to never fly again. Those fear-mongering clips were easy to find. I mainly wanted to rattle the first-time flyers. Never imagined the domino effect I'd unleashed. 3 hours later, drowsy in bed, my phone shrilled. "MS. Smith? This is Officer Daniels. Your husband's family caused $200,000 in damages at JFK. We need you to post bail." Aaron's voice cut through. Panicked Jane. "Bring the money. This is all your fault." The officer explained, "My in-laws saw my videos during boarding. When crew refused their demands to deplane, they threw tantrums. During the chaos, Emily YouTube taught herself to open the emergency exit. The inflatable slide deployed, grounding the aircraft. Legally, you're not liable." The officer sighed. "But they need $200,000 for damages or this becomes a criminal case. Process them normally then." "I'm broke." I hung up. Aaron returned alone 3 days later. Haggard. He froze mid-lunge when he saw me dressed for work. Fists clenched. "You heartless bitch." He spat. "My parents got detained. Emily's only 19 and now has a criminal record. I snorted. What's it matter? Was she planning to run for Congress? His face purpled. The satisfying crack of my knuckles echoed through our silent penthouse. Speaking of Aaron, that's $200,000. Not $2,000. You think I can just pull that out of thin air? Do I look like Doryman to you? Didn't we give you $66,000 for the dowry? Combined with your savings. You should have over $300,000 by now. That's my dowry and my savings. What does that have to do with your entire family? You move it. Mutt. I'm late for work. I stepped around Aaron and left. At the office, the general manager summoned me immediately. Jane. Have a seat. There's something we need to discuss. He steepled his fingers. The company's establishing an overseas branch. We're sending a team over, management positions with exceptional benefits. You're my top candidate. But, his gaze softened. You just got married. If family obligations prevent this, I'll understand. My nails bit into my palms to steady myself. I accept. His eyebrows shot up. No hesitation? This assignment lasts 3 years minimum. Possibly permanent. Thank you for the opportunity. Sir. I won't let you down. My personal affairs are under control. Excellent. He grinned. Paperwork and training will take 6 months. Get your affairs in order. Work became my sanctuary. Aaron's perpetual scowl couldn't touch me here. Our separate bedrooms even improved my sleep. No more snoring symphony or midnight groping sessions. When Aaron finally scraped together the money to bail his relatives from the police station, our détente shattered. I'd already stashed essentials in my office locker, ready to walk out the instant hostilities resumed. Yet days passed in eerie quiet. The Fosters treated me like air. Their cowardice laid bare. Bullies only thrive when victims stay silent, a lesson my previous timid self learned too late. Emily's renewed cheer became the household barometer. One night, I returned to find them howling at a variety show, Emily cuddled in Mrs. Foster's lap. The picture of familial bliss I'd once craved. Orphaned young. Shuffled between relatives. I'd mistaken servitude for belonging. Now their exaggerated laughter at my entrance only proved how well they knew where to twist the knife. Taking out the trash, Emily announced later. Rushing past without so much as a crumpled napkin. Through my bedroom window, I watched her sprint toward a lanky blonde under the street lamp. Their feverish embrace turned into a sidewalk tango. Last lifetime, I'd exposed Emily's fling with Luke, a high school dropout turned karaoke lounge manager. Her venom still echoes. Luke makes $4,000 monthly now. You ruined everything. This time, I'll let their love story unfold. Curious what chaos these star-crossed lovers will brew. After all, I've other fires to watch, like Mr. Foster's dance partner from the community center. While Mrs. Foster loses tuition money at Mahjong, her husband's perfecting a different kind of handwork. The Foster circus has 3 rings now. Let them juggle. My father-in-law, Franklin Foster, is 55 years old this year and still as energetic as ever. I've caught him more than once stuffing money into a lady's hand at the park and groping her chest and lower body. Later, he stopped going there because he found a new dance partner. Sister Lou from Building 22. After losing her husband and son at an early age. Sister Lou's mind isn't quite right. But she's good looking. Especially her figure. From the back, she looks like a girl in her 20s or 30s. She has little income and will sleep with anyone who gives her some money or things for a night. Frank thought he'd found true love. He not only had an overwhelming possessiveness towards her but also bought her gold bracelets and necklaces. Almost everyone in the neighborhood knows about it. Except my mother-in-law. In my previous life. After I found out about this, I tried to persuade Frank earnestly. But he refused to change. Helpless, I had to tell my mother-in-law. She and Frank had a huge fight. When I tried to mediate as a good-willed person, I was slapped twice for no reason. And my face was swollen for days. Eventually, they made up. After making up, they decided that it was me spreading rumors that caused this. And once again, I was blamed for no good reason. In this life. When I saw red papules appearing on Frank's body, I suddenly realized something. Without a moment's delay, I packed my luggage and fled the house overnight on the pretext of a business trip. There was still a month before I was due to go abroad for work. During the first week of my business trip, the family was in an uproar. Emily was pregnant. She threw the pregnancy test stick into the household trash can, not knowing that my mother-in-law has a habit of rummaging through every trash bag before throwing it out. First, she checks for recyclables to sell. Second, she can find out about the family members through the trash, like what they've bought, eaten, or thrown away. This satisfies her perverted control freak nature. After learning about Emily's pregnancy, Aaron, instigated by his mother, called me and asked me, as his sister-in-law, to come back and help deal with the matter. I knew they wanted me to go back and pay the bills. Aaron, this is your family's business. What does it have to do with me? On the other end of the phone, Aaron's tone was low. Jane, don't forget. We're married. My family's business is also yours. I was so angry that I laughed. Ha! I never get a share of the good things. But you're so afraid to forget me when it comes to bad things. If you really regarded me as part of the family, how could you have hidden the news of the house demolition from me so well? After saying that, I hung up the phone with a snap before Aaron could say anything else. Emily didn't want to have an abortion. Instead, she wanted to marry Luke Williams. Luke was naturally willing. Someone would take care of his food and lodging, and he'd get a wife. What reason did he have to refuse? Although the Foster family looked down on Luke, Emily liked him. The Fosters always doted on Emily. After Emily went on a hunger strike for less than a day, they agreed to the marriage. When Aaron called to tell me the matter was settled and asked me to go back, I just sneered. Settled? I thought it was just the beginning. Sure enough, less than a week later, the Foster family was in chaos again. When Emily had a prenatal check-up, she was diagnosed with AIDS. Everyone thought it was Luke's fault. Aaron even threatened to beat him to death. But after Luke's test, it turned out that he didn't have AIDS. When everyone was puzzled, Frank's face turned paler and paler. Get me tested too," he said. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone fell into an eerie silence. My mother-in-law was the first to react. She cried and beat her husband, really sobbing and out of breath this time. In the end, everyone in the Foster family was tested, and all of them were infected. When Aaron told me the news, his tone was a mix of desolation, fear, and a bit of schadenfreude. Jane, I think you should also get tested. Just in case. I laughed. Looking at the medical diagnosis in my hand, my smile grew wider. What a coincidence. The results of the company-arranged physical examination just came out. I'm perfectly healthy. Not even a gynecological disease. How is that possible? Aaron said in disbelief. Then he suddenly remembered that he and I hadn't had a sexual relationship for a very long time. Aaron, do you know the saying, evil people will eventually be punished by heaven? I stopped joking and said seriously. Now that your whole family is sick and in need of money for treatment, I've sent you the divorce agreement by express. If you sign it, I won't take half of your family's demolition compensation. Otherwise, if we divorce after the demolition, I'm entitled to half of it. After saying that, I hung up the phone. The transmission routes of AIDS aren't that easy. It can only be spread through sex, mother to child, and blood. After learning that Frank had AIDS, I knew my mother-in-law was doomed. But how could I involve Emily and Aaron? I came up with an idea about blood transmission. I threw away Aaron's razor, so he had to use Frank's old-fashioned blade. Frank Foster was getting on in years and loved his liquor, which made his hands shake so badly he'd nick his face every couple days while shaving. Aaron, using a razor for the first time, naturally cut himself too, though both men simply rinsed the minor wounds with water and thought nothing of it. As for why Emily also got infected, that gave me pause. But I quickly shrugged it off. Who cared? Not my problem. The whole redevelopment drama was even more absurd. All I'd done was casually mention to some elderly neighbors that our complex might be demolished. Most dismissed it as nonsense, though a handful grew uncertain. Aaron had been skeptical too, until I started planting seeds of doubt daily. Jane. He'd splutter when I pointed out that half the eventual compensation would legally be mine despite the deed not bearing my name. After consulting a lawyer confirmed this. His greed overpowered caution. Son, is Jane really divorcing you? Frank stared at the divorce papers through cigarette haze. Good riddance. Emily interjected. What's she ever done for this family? No money. No housework. No baby, just hoarding her prenup protected savings. Once we get that demolition cash and cure your condition, women line up for you. Mind your own business. Aaron snapped. When's your abortion scheduled? Emily stroked her swelling belly. If I lose this baby, Luke will never take me back. You're being. Aaron raised his hand, halted by their mother's intervention as Emily fled. Forget your sister. The old woman crooned. That city-educated gold digger's been useless, no chores. No grandkids. Now she wants half our windfall? Let's cut losses. After demolition, we'll find you a down-to-earth wife back home, 3 babies before you know it. 3 days before my international transfer. We finalized the divorce at City Hall. Aaron glowered at my radiant smile. Don't forget, my remodeled house will fetch millions after demolition. You'll regret losing me. I beamed. Do send updates. Months later, a transferred colleague, Aaron's former classmate, mentioned his desperate loan requests. The full story emerged. Aaron had gutted their home. Even load-bearing walls. To maximize square footage. When no demolition came, they tried selling, only for realtors to call police upon finding the hollowed structure. The entire building got condemned. Dozens of families demanded compensation. Aaron hid while his mother confronted the mob. We'll tear down our own walls if we want. Take my life if you expect money. They obliged. When Aaron finally emerged, his mother lay gasping on the pavement, no witnesses. No cameras. Just she felt choruses from the crowd. Frank fled with remaining savings. Soon drained by his mistress. Penniless and ill, he crawled back to leech off Aaron. As for Emily, her persistent visits to Luke's gang haunt ended in a half-hour beating that killed both her and the unborn child. The thugs strutted off, prison stripes being a badge of honor in their circles. The hospital contacted Aaron Foster to come in, but he had no money left. Upon hearing it was the hospital calling about Emily Foster's medical bills, he immediately denied knowing anyone by that name. He even refused to claim her remains, telling them to handle the corpse however they saw fit. Aaron began scavenging through trash with Frank for survival. After gaining notoriety from the demolition incident, Aaron found himself blacklisted from decent jobs. His chronic hepatitis barred him from obtaining health certificates required for food delivery or service industry work. Construction foremen took one look at his frail frame and waved him off without consideration. Even dumpster diving proved challenging. When their dwindling funds could no longer cover both their treatments, Aaron made the cold calculation to prioritize his own survival over Frank's worsening condition. The old man's eventual death from untreated illness barely registered emotionally as Aaron buried him in a pauper's grave. Only then did the destitute man remember me. He tried reaching out, but I'd already left the country with changed contact information. You should thank your stars you're abroad, my friend later remarked. That man's shed every shred of dignity, he'd cling to anyone who might throw him a lifeline. The memories flooded back with painful clarity. In my previous life, I'd been the one begging their family for mercy after miscarriage and betrayal, slowly bleeding out on cold stairs for an excruciating hour. I understood too well that limbo between clinging to life and welcoming death. 2 weeks later, police notified me from overseas. Aaron had died from food poisoning after consuming tainted scraps, convulsing for 3 days before suffocating in his own vomit and excrement. Though legally unnecessary, the officer called out of humanitarian concern. The Foster family line had been completely extinguished. I have no connection to him anymore, I responded. Handle it through standard indigent protocols. The line clicked dead. Watching dawn break through my window, I breathed deeply. Finally, every shadow from that cursed past had dissolved in sunlight.